Hello everyone, welcome to Ashley Lancelot Show. Today's subject will be about Toys R Us. I'll put a link down below for Rich from ReviewTechUSA for his segment Toys R Us. He goes more in depth of it and the reason why it's closed out, and he shows a little of his childhood as well. This video is going to be about the childhood I had with Toys R Us. I am going to be 29 in May. I had so many good memories at Toys R Us. Back then when I was a kid, we were poor. My dad was also poor as well. That my parents were separated, so I always see my dad like 2-3 times a year when I was a little kid until I was 8 years old, and I moved with him due to very bizarre circumstances. But you know, my dad usually had a Porsche 911 1973, and it usually comes down on my birthday and Christmas. And he had a trunk full of toys from Toys R Us, and it was one of the most joyous time of my life growing up. Now this generation don't really play much with toys anymore. I can go to a little bit later on. That was the most funnest time. I always saw my dad with his two-stroke Suzuki. Is it Suzuki or Kawasaki? His two-stroke Kawasaki, strapped like these big motorcycle travelers in it with toys to come visit me as well. It was the most it was a time that I had a shitload of Transformers and Power Ranger, you know, growing up, and I wish I had those toys because they're worth a lot of money now. It is very weird to see how things transition over the years. Because back then, you know, we had toys, board games, we had game systems. Game systems were very expensive. What we grew up with. I grew up with the Super Nintendo. First, it was my uncle's Super Nintendo. I played the shit out of it. I didn't get much into Sega Genesis, even though my uncle got Sega Genesis, and I dabbled a little bit of it. But I never actually played it as much as I did. And and I really never actually owned an actual console. So I was in, I think, 2nd or 3rd grade, and my uncle gave me a Super Nintendo. I still played the shit out of that, and that's when the PS1 era, I believe, came out. And I did not get PS1 until I was in 4th grade, and my dad got it for me. I was playing with it. My stepmom. Then I got my N64 and GameCube from Toys R Us, from my other side of the family as well. So it has a lot of memory. I think one bizarre memory was the Tamaguchi phase. I remember in Hancock Park School in LA. I was actually kicked out of 3rd Street Elementary School. I got bullied a lot when I was a kid. And how I fought bullies was I had those heavy-duty Mickey Mouse, thick plastic lunch pail. They had this big, thick thermal, it's like a thickness of brick. It will mess you up if I got that smashed on his head with it. And yeah, I usually beat people with lunch pails, heavy lunch for lunch and stuff. And I wasn't allowed to bring lunch to school, so I had to have those. My mom used to have to get me Lunchables. A lot of times I used those school ticket lunch breakfast. We were actually able to get those because we didn't make that much money back. There was a Tamaguchi phase. Everyone had a Tamaguchi. Everyone at school had Tamaguchi. There was like this whole thing about, you know, not bringing Tamaguchi to school is a distraction, so forth and so on. And I was the only one that never had Tamaguchi in school. And I was in a special program school as well. I was a couple years behind because no one in the household taught me how to speak English that well, do math that well, because they were more worried about buying food and living another day. Me and my mom slept in a walk-in class. So things got a lot better when I grew older. I had to beg 2 of my uncles. One of my uncle, I consider my big brother, is 10 years older than me. I have an older uncle. I think it's like 20. I think it's like what? Past almost 60 now. Back then he was like in his 30s, I believe. He was like the oldest one out of the family, I believe. Or was my Grace aunt? One of those two, or one of the oldest. I had to beg. I begged my grandmother. My grandmother would buy me anything, candy, food, anything. It was basically candy. It was food. She'll buy it or make it for me. Toys was like I had boxes and boxes of my dad. I love my dad. Every time my dad asks me, he's like, "What do you want for Christmas?" I want your D&D, all your old second edition D&D advanced books. That's how I play D&D from him. Or your old comic book collection, or your very old collectibles like your spawns and stuff. I will take it. I will never sell it. I will take it. And I'll keep it in my collection. And my dad didn't. My dad's like, buy you new laptop, a tablet, stuff. I didn't care for it. I don't want him to spend the money. I just want his shit. He was like, what will you? It's like, you can get it when I'm dying. He said, my dad's like, you can get it if I die. Put it in the will. It's like, I'm not waiting 40, 50 years till you passed away for it. Just give it to me now. I don't care about the house and stuff. I don't want to own a house, and I don't want to get a house for less in San Francisco. It's like ridiculously going to be overpriced with property tax and stuff. So the Damakuchi, everyone, I had to beg, I cried. I did my tantrums. Grandmother had enough. My grandmother gave my older uncle $60. Take him to Toys R Us. He got Damakuchi. We went to like 3 to 4 Toys R Us in LA. And where we live, Toys R Us were like 20 or 30 minutes away from each other. Got my Damakuchi. You play rock, paper, scissors. You can feed it. Sleeps. Gotta take care of it like a little baby. And then when I would take it to school and stuff, I never got confiscated. I was a pretty smart cookie. I get those paper, like regular, like hand towels, and we had a couple of packing foams. Tape it around, I makeshift it with it was duct tape or masking tape. I covered in school. So during recess, I take it out, play with it, and muffle the sound back up on it. And it's funny that when that phase only lasted about a 6 to 9 months until you get bored of it because you can't do much of it. That's when the new game came out, was Super Mario RPG Legends of the Seven Stars. I played the shit out of that too. It is interesting to see. That was one of the most like extreme version of it of Toys R Us that I can remember personally when I was a child. I remember KB Toys, that's gone. I remember like a very huge toy store. I forgot what it was called. I think it was Welsh. I forgot what it's called, but every one of those stores is huge. They had those talking tree in the middle, and there's like trains going all around. I had one in San Francisco, LA. New York was the biggest one. Like every time every year, and then growing up older and older, the store closes down. Circus City got closed down. Radio Shack got closed a lot of the store. Also, what it used to sell anymore now. Radio Shack, like very few stores sells like phones. Because I used to in high school when I was in robotics, went there, bought some resistors, servos, so on for robotics, building stuff as well. But now Toys R Us is we already know Toys R Us is going to go out. We don't know when. Now, United States, it's already closing down, so I'm gonna check tomorrow because Toys R Us about a block away from where I live. See what they have on sale, what they're gonna sell stuff. They're gonna sell Switches and stuff like 50-60% off. I'm gonna try to take as much as possible, do that as a giveaway for you guys. But it is very sad. In my childhood, I remember to go. My little brother and I are 14 years apart. And when he was, I believe, 4 or 5 years old, we were eating at Marie's Calendar. I had a job. I worked at a hotel. My friend drove me to Toys R Us. It was about 2 blocks away, Hayward. I got when Toys R Us got him the Nerf guns. I got him some Legos and so forth. He loved it. Like I really didn't know what he wants. It was 4, and I didn't know what 4-year-old want anymore. Now it's just he's about what? He'll be 15 this year. All he wants is games. The new Call of Duty. He wants a new Black Ops. He controllers. He wants a new game system. But you know, he's always on his phone. He's always on his tablet. I always see him play Hearthstone. I come visit him, and it is a new age. I still collect toys, even though I'm 29. I still do collect toys. I still collect anime figures. I need to collect that the most, and I actually love anime figures. Like you see, a couple Supersonicals I got in Japan, and Ray from Evangelion. We got some pops. You know, Ashley has a Disney doll right there. You see a lot of toys around. You know, I'm still a man child. I'll admit it. I'll never grow out of it because part of my childhood. I enjoy it. I love it. It's just sad. I know it's gonna go away because of Amazon. There's a lot cheaper to buy stuff. Amazon, eBay is probably one of the big contributors as well. Walmart. I don't know. I usually look around Walmart toys. A lot of products are very cheap. Like a lot of their like Disney knockoffs toys they have is very cheap. Like very poorly made. So I never really buy toys at Walmart at all. I usually buy a lot of my toys and figurines online when they're good quality. The quality sucks. I'm not gonna buy it. It's not worth buying. A lot of times back then, toys were more collectibles than now. Because back then they made about like 100,000 of them. Now they make millions and millions of these toys. Because now we have almost 7 billion people now. Yeah. Toys R Us. Thank you for everything. I remember. And even though you were overpriced as hell, still like going and walking around. I prefer the Japanese Toys R Us in Fusa, Tokyo, Japan. That place was a lot better because it had a lot more, has a whole row of Gundams, Star Wars models. It was mostly for man child like me to go in and buy. But Toys R Us in here is just different because they still think that kids are still playing with these same things. They don't. It's hard for them to go change with the time. I think this is like one of the last toy store that you actually can buy toys from. And it's gone. I think there's still toys, mom and pop toy stores, but they're very few. They're very rare to find. And they're about to go down too because these toys, a lot cheaper online. There's pay no workers or anything else. I used to sell toys in Japan when I was working in the military. It was a lot more profitable. There's not a lot of these toys that comes to America. I hope you like this video. Please subscribe to the notification and want to leave a comment and let me know about your childhood about Toys R Us or any toy stores. Please let me know. I'll respond. Thank you guys very much and have a great